to be safe for anyone who's suffered trauma of any kind, and should be very welcoming for you if you're a beginner. So I invite you to find a comfortable seat that may be on a mat. You may have a pillow under your sits bones so that you can sit up straight and comfortably. You may not. You may have something under your knees. I know that my hip flexors have been very, very tight lately, so I really should probably have some blocks underneath my knees. So as you begin to get comfortable and find that comfortable seated position, take some time to set an intention before we begin this brief practice. You might want to focus on an idea, dedicate your practice to someone, or maybe you want to set an intention just to be present and accepting of your body and mind as it is right now, on this day, at this moment. So we're going to go ahead and have a seat in easy pose, and easy pose is just how I'm sitting. Obviously there's multiple versions of this pose, and you can take whatever version that you like. So we're going to sit in easy pose, and we're going to start by regulating our breath, because the breath is one of the most important things that we learn to do in yoga, and it can be used anywhere in our life outside of a physical yoga practice. So I want you to take note of your breath as it is. Notice the inhales and exhales as they are, without changing or adjusting the way that you're breathing. Then I invite you to slowly inhale deeper and deeper until you see your belly rise with your inhale and fall with your exhale. So this may not come immediately, but we're going to take a deep breath in and out. Okay, and I want you to really get into the space of that intention and your breath. So you may put your hand on your belly and really focus on pushing the belly out on the inhale and feeling it fall on the exhale. So doing this kind of deep breathing is really going to assist you in relaxing. And from what I read, a lot of you are having some small injuries, some mental situations that you're trying to overcome right now, and deepening our breath will actually help us to get relaxed and help our muscles to actually just feel at ease. So for right now, as we begin to do a few postures, I'd like you to do some neck rolls. And as you're doing this, move with your breath. Okay, so I want us to really make sure we're paying attention to our breath. So on your inhale, I'm going to roll to one side, and then I'm going to stay on this side, and then let my exhale release. Okay, on the next inhale, we're going to go to the other side. And then on the exhale, release. Okay, continue doing this at your own pace. You can also use your hand as a gentle bit of pressure here. This feels really good on my neck. I know that as a millennial, I sometimes fall into the text neck category where I'm looking down at my phone often, or really looking down at my computer to work. And so this is a really good way to move our neck in a way that we don't often use it during the day. From here, we're going to move into a pose called cobbler. And if you practiced with me the last time we did a yoga session, you might remember doing cobbler. Cobbler is where you're going to touch the soles of your feet together in front of your body. And you may know this as a stretch called the butterfly. But one thing that we want to make sure we're not doing here is fluttering our legs. So if you notice, my legs are really, really high up here, and I know I've pointed this out to you all previously, but my hips are very, very, very tight, okay? And it's okay to see your legs here, and it's okay to see your legs flat on the floor, okay? You also may choose to pull your feet in closer to you or push them further out. The goal of yoga is not to necessarily feel uncomfortable. The goal of yoga is to accept your body as it is and accept what your body can do in this moment at this time. So I know that my legs are going to be up here, and that's okay. I'm going to take the fleshy part out from underneath my sits bones, and I'm going to sit up straight through my spine. And I'm going to take a few deep breaths. Okay, and as I breathe in and out, I'm going to allow the oxygen coming into my body to go into those hips where I feel tight, and allow them just to relax a little bit further with each breath. Okay, and the next posture that we're going to move into is the seated forehead to knee. So I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to push it out. My left foot is going to go on the inside of my right leg. The only thing you want to make sure you're not doing here is do not put your foot on your knee joint. Okay, you never ever want to push on your knee. So again, I'm going to take the fleshy parts from my sits bones. I'm going to turn toward that leg, and then I'm going to relax down with the goal of working my forehead to my knee. Now, a few things you want to notice here is your back rounding like this? You want to try to leave your spine as straight as you can. So if your flexibility only allows you here, you may just stay here. One thing that I've really focused on in my training is not to force yourself to go to a certain edge. That is something that we do in fitness, but that is not something we should be doing in yoga. So I am maybe going to feel a stretch in my lower back and in my hamstring here. Okay, and each person is different, so you may feel or may not feel a stretch in those places. And again, we're going to use our breath to really carry us into this pose and get a little deeper if we can. Again, don't grab your leg and force yourself down. Okay, on your next inhale, we're going to switch to the other side. So I'm going to pull my right leg in, left leg out. Okay, again, I'm going to turn my shoulders toward that left foot. And then I'm going to slowly lower myself down with the goal of putting my forehead to my knee. Now, can I meet that goal? No. And I've been practicing yoga for many, many years. Okay, so this just proves that, what you see on the internet, what you see in movies and books is not necessarily what yoga is supposed to be. It's all about meeting your body where you are. And I know that this is where I am, and I accept that. Okay, on your next inhale, you can pull up. Okay, and we're going to meet in tabletop pose. So in tabletop pose, you're going to look just like a table. You want to focus on putting your hands directly from here, okay? You're going to put your hands, about 2 inches in front of where they were, and then you're going to pull up into downward dog. One thing about downward dog that I like to emphasize, a lot of people tell me it hurts their wrists. Put your hand flat on the mat, like so, and push into all of the joints of your hand, not just into your wrist. And when you come up, your back should look like this, like a straight line. Notice that my knees are bent. Allow your head to relax. And if you like, you certainly can straighten your legs here. Okay, so you might look a little bit more like this, and that's okay too. Your heels may or may not touch the ground. My goal here is, though, to stretch my shoulders and my spine. Okay, and then from your downward dog, you're going to pull your right leg forward into a low lunge, and this is where you might use those pillows, those blocks, those books. Okay, so you can do this from your knees or straight from your dog. Okay, so I'm going to pull my leg forward into a low lunge. When you're in this lunge, you want to pay attention to your knee. Is your knee directly over your ankle? Okay, your knee shouldn't be jutting forward out above your ankle or going too far back. It should be about parallel. Now, I have been doing a lot of weightlifting, as I'm sure many of you have too. So for me, it's easier to stay in my low lunge with some blocks as support. Okay, notice that my back is a straight line up from the back of my back leg. Okay, you want to aim to do that, so that's where the blocks can help me to do the posture correctly. Okay, we're going to stay here for one more breath, and then we're going to pull up into Warrior One. So in your Warrior One, you're going to kick that left foot out, and then you're going to pull straight up. Now, you can raise your arms into the air here, or put them on your hips. The idea here is that you are a proud warrior. Check in with your spine. Tuck your tailbone under, bend into the front knee, and make sure that your back leg is as straight and strong as you can make it. Okay, from here we're going to step up into mountain pose. So step up to the front of your mat, and I'm going to face you guys for this. Okay, once you get to the front of your mat, mountain pose is just where your feet are about hip width distance. You may choose to have your hands open. You may choose to have them at heart center. And I don't know if you all can hear in my voice, but my breath is starting to pick up because we're doing a little bit of movement here. And that's okay, so I'm going to take a moment to get my breath to calm back down. So they always say that in yoga, if you start to lose your breath, you need to take a moment, take a step back. So check in with yourself. Are you hearing any messengers? Is your body trying to tell you something here? Okay, so you should be at the front of your mat. And from here, you're going to step back into a low lunge with the other leg. So you're going to take your right leg, step it back, and come back down into that low lunge. So my low lunge is here. I'm checking in with the ankle and the knee ratio. I'm making sure my spine is straight and strong. And remember, your spine includes your neck, so you want to have a straight line all the way up. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to come into Warrior One on the other side. So I'm going to kick this back leg out just a bit, and I'm going to slowly pull up into Warrior One. Okay, again, checking in with my spine. My hips are very sore today, so I'm trying to make sure, maybe I have to make my stance a little bit shorter in order to make sure that my spine is straight and strong and I'm not putting pressure on my lower back here. Taking one last deep breath and then stepping back up into mountain. So you should be at the front of your mat, at the top of your mat in your glorious, strong mountain pose. Taking a few deep, deep breaths and then checking in with your body again. Okay, from here, we're going to move into a forward fold. The one thing I really want you guys to focus on here is to allow your neck to relax. Okay, so we're going to work our way down the thighs. We're going to sandwich the belly to the thighs. If at any point your belly is moving away from your thighs, you've gone too far. So I'm going to scoot this way so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. So I'm coming down, belly to the thighs, and again, I have limited hamstring flexibility. So my standing forward fold looks about like this. I have to warn you, it's okay to bend your knees here. And you really want to make sure you're focusing on that hamstring stretch here. You might even feel a stretch in your lower back. You can leave your hands on the floor here in front of your feet, or you can place them behind the back of your ankles or on your calves. Make sure you're allowing your head to fully relax and your neck to have that deep stretch via gravity here. Use the breath here to lengthen the back of your legs as much as you can and pull the crown of your head toward the floor. Okay, on your next inhale, you're going to put your hands on the ground and step back into downward dog. So I'm gonna walk my hands out a little bit ahead here. I'll move this so you guys can see. And then I'm gonna step back into downward dog. Okay, again, on downward dog, a lot of people think a lot of the pressure is up here. It's not. A lot of the pressure is in the back of your feet. You might wanna walk your dog here. Walking the dog is a good way to take some of the pressure out of your lower back and again to stretch those hamstrings. Okay, and downward dog is actually a resting pose in yoga, believe it or not. So take a moment to rest here, have a breath, and then once you feel ready, I invite you to take a child's pose. So you can melt down onto your knees. And there's a few different variations of child's pose. I choose a wide-legged child's pose so that my legs are actually spread far apart. And I choose to have my hands out in front of my body. Okay, what this does for me is really gives me a stretch in my rear deltoids, the front of my shoulders, the back, everything through my arms. It also gives you a stretch in your hips. And you may feel some emotions here as you allow your heart to melt into the earth. Listen to the sound of your breath. This is one of the very few poses where it's acceptable for you to allow your belly to relax. So you don't have to feel any muscle engagement here. Just allow yourself to rest and relax in your child's pose. Okay, whenever you feel ready on your next inhale, you can slowly roll up and transition to your back. Okay, we're gonna lay flat on our backs. That's called a supine position. And as we do that, we're going to do a supine spinal twist. And this is one of my favorite things to do in yoga because it acts as a ringing motion for your organs and your spine, and it can really help you to detoxify your body and to help you move in a way that you may not normally move. So I'm gonna lay flat. I'm gonna take my left arm and pull my right leg across my body. A few things that you wanna make sure that you're doing here are keeping your leg all the way straight. Keep your spine super straight. You're gonna take your right arm and you're gonna let it float over to the other side. Now, if you don't have a lot of mobility and flexibility in your shoulders, you might not be able to let your arm fully touch the floor. Mine doesn't really fully touch the floor. Okay, so I'm gonna look to the right and then either put my arm on top of something like a block, or I'm just going to hold it in the air. If it's uncomfortable for you, you may also just allow your arm to rest on your hip. Okay, as you're doing this, make sure you're using the breath to elongate on the inhale and twist a little further on the exhale. Don't forget about your neck. Your neck is an extension of your spine, and make sure that you're stretching and twisting from your neck all the way down and not just through your lower back. Okay, on your next inhale, we'll move to the other side. So I'm gonna take my right hand and place it on my left knee. I'm gonna hook the back of my left foot over my leg. Okay, I'm gonna pull it over to the side. Ooh, a few back crackles there. And then I'm gonna take my left arm and I'm going to gently move it to this side as I look also to the left. Okay, again, on each inhale, try to go longer. And on the exhale, twist, twist, twist. Hopefully this feels different for you. If you sit on a desk all day, this might be something that feels very strange, but this is a really nice thing to do in your office or at your home every night just to get a little bit of the kinks out if you can. So on your next inhale, we are gonna actually work into happy baby. Okay, so Happy baby is a really nice one if you have tight hips, okay? And there's a few different ways to do it, but you're gonna lay back and you're gonna imagine that you're a baby that's just found their feet, okay? So you're gonna take, and this is your choice, you can take your arms through the inside of the legs, or you can take them around the outside of the legs. I prefer the outside. And you're gonna cradle your knees into your chest, and then you can rock side to side, you can rock front to back. Sometimes people kick one leg into the air and then the next. Do what feels right for you here. And this happy baby can make you feel a little bit exposed, and it's okay because, you know, we're all in the privacy of our own home right now, which is the nice thing about this setup. And I really feel this in my hips right around this area. I'm sure Sophie could tell you exactly what that's called and why that's happening, but it feels nice for me. I also get a nice hamstring stretch here. Okay, make sure you're remembering to breathe. Okay, and then whenever you're ready, I invite you to lay flat in your final resting pose of Shavasana. So find your Shavasana, and when you're in Shavasana, I welcome you to spread your legs out, spread your arms out as wide as you'd like them to be, and allow as many pieces of your body to melt into the earth as you can. Okay, and for this final Shavasana, you might choose to close your eyes. You might choose to cover your eyes with something that has a little bit of weight to it, maybe a t-shirt. Okay, and I invite you just to get settled in, and I'm going to walk you through just a small breathing meditation here. Take one long, deep inhale through your nose. And as you exhale, allow the weight of the day to leave your body as you relax into the floor. Letting go of the day thus far, finding a moment of calm, a moment of peaceful breath. Notice the feeling of the earth supporting your entire body. Reflect on how it feels to take this time just for you. No one asked you to be here. You're taking this time for yourself. With each inhale, you might say the word let in your mind. And with each exhale, maybe say the word go in your mind. With this practice, you might not allow your mind to wander away from the mat. This is your time, and you're present here. Be present. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. You're not only present right now in this moment, but you're going to be present the remainder of the day. Check in with your body. Are there any messengers that you might be hearing mentally, physically? Don't ignore those things. Thank you for taking the time to honor yourselves and your bodies as they are. The light in me respects and loves the light in each and every one of you. Namaste.